Peace. This is Waz for Waz Words Media back at y'all for another round. And hoop heads, there's been a lot of talk going around, man, that the New York Knicks are pretenders and are not contenders. Wow. I mean, I just want to address this briefly because, yeah, it seems like we're 0-8 against like the elite in the league. Elite meaning, the top three teams: OKC, Cleveland, Boston. We're 0-8 against these teams. We can't muster a win against these teams. I mean, I'm sick of beating up on the Pacers and Philly. And that don't mean nothing anymore right now unless we start racking up some victories against Boston, Cleveland. But I made a video a few weeks ago talking about these Cleveland Cavaliers. They're not the same Cavaliers from a couple years back that the Knicks spanked in the playoffs. I told y'all, this Cavaliers team is for real. They are for real. And now they are actually just entering their prime. Some of their key players, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, these guys are just entering their prime. Donovan Mitchell is a young prime player, still in his mid-late 20s. So they're a very dangerous team. Their bench got better, and especially with that trade they made with Atlanta for Hunter, forget it. They're loaded. They are loaded, man. They are not an easy out anymore. Boston just continues to play with the Knicks. So I need to hear from y'all. Are the Knicks for real? Or are we pretenders, man? And I want to also address real quick, man, the Knicks fans that say, oh, Karl Anthony Towns, putting this on Towns. Listen, Karl Anthony Towns is not the problem. Granted, he is a liability on defense. He's a liability on defense. He don't play a lick of defense. But the man be putting up, he's a double-double machine, giving you 25 and 12 a night. You can't ignore that. The locker room is another big thing that people tend to, push to the wayside. Are you a locker room guy? Julius Randle at times was not a locker room guy. He used to get into it with teammates and with staff and with the fans. And Karl Anthony Towns knows and accepts that this is Jalen Brunson's team. He doesn't want any part of this being his team. He is not giving Brunson any problems. He has been, in fact, the complete opposite. He's been a tremendous compliment to Jalen Brunson on the pick and roll, pick and pop. So I don't see why Knicks fans are putting this on him. If anything, the guy that we got to kind of look at what's up is Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is not giving us anything. He doesn't look comfortable. His body language is off. Something's off with Mikal Bridges. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he was just he really hit his stride in Brooklyn because he was the main option. And now here he's reduced to the third, sometimes fourth when OG's clicking. But I really don't understand what's going on with Bridges. Bridges just doesn't look like he's... And I was one to tell y'all earlier this year, don't worry, by All-Star break, Bridges will mesh in, but it hasn't happened yet. It just has not happened yet. So if anything, Karl Anthony Towns is not the problem. Bridges is the one that's alarming because we were supposed to have Wingstop, right? It was supposed to be Bridges on one side, Anunoby on the other. This was supposed to be the answer for Boston. We were supposed to be Wingstop. Nah, we looking like Buffalo Wild Wings because every wing in the and the NBA is hitting three-pointers on us. We ain't no Wingstop. We Buffalo Wild Wings. Those is going wild out there in the three-point line. Bang, bang, bang. Yo, Jason Tatum be salivating. You be seeing him salivating when he plays the Knicks. When he sees Mikal Bridges coming up to him to defend, these dudes are salivating now, man. Like, it's an embarrassment, and it's not what we signed up for. So, let me know in the comment section, man. Are the Knicks still contenders to y'all, or are they pretenders? I'm going to go and say we're still contenders. We lost a big part of our identity. We lost multiple parts of our identity. We were a grinded out grit team, and we're no longer that. I think key components such as Hartenstein and Dante DiVincenzo plus Mitch Robinson, those were key cogs of our identity, why we were a grinded out team. I compared this team a lot to the grindhouse teams of the Memphis Grizzlies in the 2010s that had Gasol, Randall, what's his name, Rudy Gay, Conley. I compared our Knicks teams of the past few years to that team because there was no huge superstar, but it was just a cohesive unit that played hard. They were physical, and they out grit you. But this Knicks team is no longer that. We just have to face the facts. They're no longer that. We lost some of that when Hartenstein and Randall and DiVincenzo, when they left, some of that identity went out the door with them. We're more of a finesse team. We're more of a finesse team that hustles. We're a hustle finesse team, but not a grinding, hustling, physical team. We're not that anymore. We're more of a finesse team that hustles. We're a finesse hustling team. We defend, to an extent, not like we were last year or past few years. But we're more of a hustling, diving for loose balls. Josh Hart, namely, cutting baselines. We're more of a finesse, hustling, constantly moving in motion team. But we're not the grinding out, physical, slow the pace down, bang it out type team anymore. I still think we are a contender. Just it's not, my expectations are not as high as they were before, but I still think you're a contender because to me, the definition of contender means that you are capable of going to at least a conference finals. That's what determines a contender to me, that you're capable of going to the conference finals, and I believe this Knicks team is still capable of making a conference finals when they're completely healthy. When we have OG, when Mitch comes back. Like, these are things. I know I mentioned a little earlier that we lost Hartenstein, we lost what's his name, DiVincenzo. Mitch hasn't played, but at least we're getting Mitch back. So when Mitch comes back, we could drop Karl-Anthony Towns to the 4, which is more of his natural position, just like he did in Minnesota when he played alongside of Rudy Gobert, and you saw how that worked. They made it to conference finals. So I think we're still contenders, but as far as expectations of going to the championship, I'm having to pump my brakes a little bit on that. But what say you? Drop some bars in the comment section. I'm Waz for Waz Words Media. Peace.